Cool. We are live. So what we're going to be covering here is going to be, the 3 simple steps to shortcutting your A1C results. And so let me first off start with a disclosure. Naturally, I am not a doctor. I do not practice medicine. I don't even practice guitar, or even, I think the closest thing I'll ever come is practicing Spanish. Okay, but I do not practice medicine. So always, always, always do exactly what your doctor tells you to do, and that's coming from someone who's probably the absolute worst at it. I am an absolute hypocrite, but I'm telling you that right now, simply because, nobody has to be as big as a goofball as I am, literally to get your results. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to shortcut. If you've ever wanted to, be able to learn how to shortcut your A1C and learn how to really kind of control your blood sugar very quickly and easily without doing some weird hokey diet, that's exactly what we're going to learn here. So please know, more than anything, my name is Davis. It is my honor. It is my mission. It is now my thing in life to now go out and help us save as many family and help save as many lives that deal and struggle with the same exact medical condition that I have, which is type 2 diabetes, because we all know that if, high blood sugar uncontrolled over long term leads to everything from going deaf, blind, getting amputated, kidney failure, kidney disease, which is unfortunately what really kind of killed my grandfather in front of us, right? And ultimately even coronary disease, right? That's everything from heart attacks, stroke and hypertension, that if we don't do anything about it now, it's not only going to kill people like you and I like clockwork every single day, it's going to absolutely shatter families like ours for generations to come. So more than anything, this isn't about, one diet versus another. More than anything, this is about just sharing love and empowering one another in the hopes that we can actually save lives, save families, and ultimately change the world here together, okay? So let me give you some really quick context. This really kind of came to me when I first was diagnosed, went vegan, then slow carb, then paleo, then keto for 2.5, 3 years, right? And then after that, I did 0 carb, but that ultimately blew up in my face. Same way that vegan did, which is really weird. I went on 2 completely different extremes and it blew up in my face. If you want to see how that's done, I don't want to get into that now. You can actually see how all of that is done. I really kind of shortcut 7 years of trial and error with the simple highlighter trick that not only helped me lose 75 pounds without any exercise, drugs, or even hardcore dieting, how I'm able to shortcut my A1C results, all that stuff, I give it away for free, simply by checking out the highlighter trick class. Anyways, let's get to it, okay? So this literally kind of dawns on me when I was doing keto, okay? So I had done keto for maybe 2.5, 3 years, and to be totally honest, if you're anything like me, this isn't your first merry-go-round, right? You've probably tried, diet after diet after diet, and whether after it's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, or in my case, 3 years, there's always that point that regardless of how much we bang our chest and say this diet is awesome or whatever, when we're alone, right? Regardless of whatever we say to other people, that's usually when the truth of, what we're doing to ourselves and, our sustainability, that's when it really kind of speaks for itself, right? Because I don't know about you, but for me, I literally got to a point where I was look, I knew that keto works well. However, if I had to be totally honest, I got to the point where it was look, am I really going to eat the same way every single meal, every single day for the rest of my life? Probably not. You know what I mean? And as much as I absolutely love all the growing phases that I went through with keto and all, everybody getting wins on, crushing this disease with keto, look, let me tell you right now, that's what it's all about, right? In the same breath, I just understood that for me, if I had to do this one thing, if I had to be forced to do this one thing and it was my only way out to crush this disease, look, regardless of all the positive things or not, if I could be totally honest here, I knew that for me in particular, that it would only be a matter of time, and I'm only being honest here, that I would grow to hate it, right? Which would be unfair to the diet, it'd be unfair to the community, it'd be unfair to everybody else, and it's not no one else's fault. I'm just being honest about where I was at that time, right? So this didn't necessarily really click for me until one day I bought this, okay? It is the Precision Extra, okay? And is for anyone doing keto, you know that obviously the blood ketone levels are going to be the gold standard for looking at ketones, okay? So I was on Amazon one day, and you know how you get the best deal buying, in bulk on Amazon, right? Goofball me, I bought the wrong strips. I bought it's either the purple or the blue. Anyways, I bought the blood strips. okay? And to be totally honest, I was way too lazy to return it. I was just like, oh, whatever, like, I'm not gonna mail this thing back, like, whatever, dude, like, I'll just, I think, what is it, like, maybe like the price difference is like 50 bucks. I was like, oh, I'll just eat it, like, I'll just use these strips, okay? And then, when I'm done with it, then I'll just go ahead and, then I'll buy the ketone strips, right? And lo and behold, at the time, I was using MyFitnessPal to track my macros, right? And I think I was on like a 70% fat, 25% protein, 5% carbohydrate protocol, okay? And I was just like, all right, kind of plugging along, and I was using MyFitnessPal as the, as the app that I was using to track at the time, okay? At the same time, when I bought this on Amazon, I also bought Dr. Bernstein's, diabetes solution book, okay? Which is a huge reason why I say when you look at everything from paleo, Mediterranean, keto, vegan, low carb in general, right? The Pritikin's protocol, all this other stuff, like that's why I show the highlighter trick, because that's how I'm able to quickly shortcut my A1C without being stuck in any of the traps. In fact, I'm gonna show you a really quick 3-step shortcut right now, okay? So essentially, here's what I did, okay? This all started one day when I made some Brussels sprouts, okay? And I made these keto ones. You've probably seen them on Facebook. I think it's the tasty one, right? Where it's like garlic butter, Parmesan cheese, and bacon, right? So I make a whole pan of this stuff, right? I slide it out of the oven, okay? And dude, the smell wafts me in the face. And look, I don't care if it's potato skins, Brussels sprouts. Look, you can put it on my cell phone cover or my old slippers. Like if you put garlic butter, Parmesan cheese, and bacon on something, I'm probably gonna stuff my face, okay? Now, granted, at the time, I maybe had like, I don't know, 8 grams of carbohydrate left for the day, right? But dude, when I pulled this thing out and the smell hit me in the face, I started salivating, and guess what I did, okay? I stuffed my face, okay? Like I just went like this until I was like blue in the face, okay? Now, long story short, I was just like, obviously I'm way out of ketosis, right? I'm like, oh dude, like why did I do that, right? Like I'm such a goofball, right? Like why did I even do that to myself? Well, anyways, I pulled this thing out because I'm like, I wonder how far I'm out of ketosis or whatever, or I wonder what my blood sugar numbers are, just to find out my blood sugar was normal. And I was like, wait, what? It was maybe like 113, 115, okay? And I'm like, wait a minute here, like, huh? You know what I mean? This is crazy, right? Now, anyone from the keto community will ever, always tell you like, Davis, like obviously there's a huge difference whenever you go from eating like a bowl of ice cream to like a bowl of eating like Brussels sprouts or broccoli or whatever, right? Like clearly, dude, like duh, like big difference, right? And it didn't necessarily dawn on me that when I look at, and when I go to looking at from ketones to blood sugar, it's like the same thing, but like 10 times wider. It's like a football field, right? In fact, it wasn't until I looked at the work of Dr. He's the Dr. Peter Attea, okay? Dr. Peter Attea, you can actually go on his Instagram and you can look back. I want to say it's the beginning or the midsummer 2019, his Instagram posts where he's doing different blood numbers, right? He checks his blood sugar number, his ketone level and stuff like that, right? Well, if you actually go on my site, you'll actually see the same thing where I think if you click on the highlighter class and there's like a picture of me and like one of my blood sugar results, right? And it's at 66, right? I didn't know this because obviously I bought the wrong strips at the time, but I was probably somewhere between, when I took that picture, probably somewhere between 2 and 3 millimolar, right? Now, look, like you don't have to go that far. Like what ended up happening is this, right? When I bought Dr. Bernstein's book, what he showed was like, hey, look, like, it's kind of common sense, okay? It's like not really rocket science. If your doctor is gonna look at your blood sugar numbers, your medication is gonna be predicated on your blood sugar numbers. Every, type 2 diabetes medication commercial that you ever see on the internet, on TV or on the radio, or talking about A1C, which is our blood sugar numbers, right? Whether you look at any sort of case study, almost any other case study, I should say, when it comes to type 2 diabetes on like something like the National Institute of Health, U.S. Public Library of Medicine's, library of, case studies and like scientific research from around the world, like they are looking at blood sugar numbers whenever all these different, whether it's the vegan side or even the low carb and keto side, when they're talking about insulin resistance, and you're like, okay, cool, like show me insulin resistance, tests and results, and they show us like weight loss and A1C, and A1C is our blood sugar numbers, we might as well just look there, right? And so like, I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but obviously I just had to bang my head over a rock like a million times before I was like, look, if everyone's gonna ultimately look there, I might as well look there too, right? And so next thing you know, I end up eating, and I was like tracking my macros on MyFitnessPal, right? And instead of looking at ketones, because I bought the wrong strips like a complete goofball, I started looking at my blood sugar numbers. And next thing you know, my macros were all over the place. I was probably miles away from being in ketosis, okay? But at the same time, as goofy as and as stupid as an accident, as lazy as I was for not returning the strips, to be totally honest, like that was my biggest victories, because after 30 days of just looking at my actual numbers, I was free from like doing some weird diet thing, because I started vegan, I went slow carb, I then went paleo, I then went keto, I then went zero carb, right? After zero carb, I did do the Dr. Bernstein's diabetes solution. I did go high protein. I also obviously went high protein when I went zero carb. If you saw yesterday's video, I also did Dr. Diamato's blood type diet, and I also am a big fan of Dr. Hyman's blood sugar solution, okay? Like all these different foods or all these different diets, all the same foods, okay? Like if you want to see the whole highlighter trick, you can shortcut it, okay? And so here's essentially the fastest, most effective, and easiest way that I was able to cut through the crap, okay? Because for the longest time, I was like listening to podcasts, I was watching like, YouTube videos, I was like reading, dude, I bought so many books. I literally have in my kitchen like a private library where I probably have like, no doubt, like maybe like 200 books, 250 books, right? And a whole bunch of those, obviously, as you could probably guess, are gonna be like diet related and stuff like that, right? So anyways, here's how I shortcut it, okay? Simply, okay, by taking my blood sugar numbers. It's a simple three-step process, okay? And here's what it is, okay? First, we wanna take a quick bite before, or take a quick test before we eat something, okay? This works on any diet, okay? Like imagine whether it's a diet that your doctor gave you, whether it's you're following someone else, or you want to free yourself from dying permanently and just be able to use the tool sets to fuel the way that you want to move at that time, like which is exactly what I do now. Here's how it's done, okay? Real simple, okay? So simply, we test our blood sugar before we take our first bite, an hour after our first bite, and another hour after that, okay? What it does is it gives us a little 3-point turn, okay? And that little curve, that little blood sugar curve, basically we can break down and shortcut almost any diet known to mankind, okay? And here's how it breaks down. 3 simple steps, okay? Here's what they are. Here's what I ate, here's what happened, and here's what I'm gonna do next, okay? That's simple. Here's what I ate, here's what happened, here's what I'm gonna do next. Okay, so if you watch like the highlighter class and you see how the vegan diet blew up in my face, obviously I can do vegan now, understanding what those pieces were, right? I can also obviously do like zero carb now, knowing what those pieces were. Am I handcuffed to any of that stuff? No. Am I free to eat any of that stuff? Yes. Why? Because every single time I have a diet, every time I have a meal, regardless of where it came from, whether I'm looking at macros, counting carbs, not counting carbs, eating a bunch of vegetables, which I do every single day, eating a bunch of protein, which I also do all the time. Look, here's what I ate, here's what happened, here's what to do next, okay? Now you're like, all right, Davis, I get it. 3 simple steps, right? So if we take any diet and somebody's like, oh, I gotta eat like a caveman, or oh, I gotta jump through all these hoops to like avoid every single animal protein known to mankind, or I gotta jump through all these hoops to like avoid every single plant known to mankind, or I gotta jump through all these hoops to put myself into a fasting physiology known as ketosis to do all this other stuff. If you had Davis over here, okay, jumping through all those hoops, okay, diet after diet, and mind you, I failed like diet after diet after diet of my entire life to saying, Davis, here's what I ate, here's what happened, here's what to do next. You gotta do the 3 little step thing, and you can apply this to any food, any diet or whatever. Like, obviously, this version of me was gonna crush it, okay? And like, honestly, like that's how and why I keep my blood sugar normal without any drugs whatsoever, okay? So here are 3 steps. If you wanna go even farther, I'll give you 3 simple bonus steps, okay? Here they are, okay? So when we say, here's what I ate, here's what happened, here's what to do next, all right? And you're like, all right, cool, so what do I do next, Davis? Like, cool, here we go. 3 simple steps too, okay, here we go. So we can either eliminate something, right? So let's say I try something. For example, I am of Filipino descent, okay? A lot of rice dishes, a lot of noodle dishes, okay? I stick that stuff in my mouth. Some people have different tolerances to different things, right? We see people do well on certain diets and some people crash on certain diets, right? This is an easy way to cut through it. So hey, no biases whatsoever. Let's embrace what our body tells us, right? Simple. Here we go. I stick it in my mouth, okay? Test it. Obviously, I know for sure for me that rice and flour in general, it's like a little, it's like putting gas on a fire for me. Some people can get away with it with calorie restriction, obviously, and all this other stuff, which we'll talk about in another video. But anyways, I know for me, rice and noodles, off the list, okay? The other thing is maybe I should eat less. Okay, so for example, whenever I go out and people can't even tell that I'm eating to control my blood sugar, very simple. I eat a bunch of, eat a bunch of vegetables. I eat a bunch of protein. Okay, then what I do is I basically pack myself to the brim or almost to the brim to where even if I am going to slip, let's say it's Thanksgiving, let's say it's Christmas, let's say it's my wedding anniversary, let's say it's my kids' birthdays or whatever, okay? Or, like let's say it's Christmas and I haven't seen like my aunt in like, a million years and she cooks her favorite dish and she's like, D, I made you a plate. And like, I can't be like, no, like I'll take a bite or two and I'm probably gonna love it, okay? At the same time, if I am like 85, 90, 95% packed to the brim, I'm probably not gonna completely shove my face with it, okay? Play a little bit of defense, all right? So obviously eat a little bit less of whatever's gonna throw me sideways, okay? And then 3, okay, step 3 is obviously I can break that down, and here's what I mean, okay? So a perfect example is we like for Father's Day and stuff like that, normally we get together just like any other family. You go to a steakhouse, you go to a restaurant by the ocean, whatever, right? Sometimes you go to a smokehouse. Perfect examples is, I think yesterday I used Lucille's, right? It's a local smokehouse, okay? Barbecue place, okay? And I absolutely love brisket, okay? I got family from Texas. My dad makes brisket. Obviously not as good as the Texans do, but it's still good, right? They have an in-house smoker, okay? Yes, you know what I'm saying? And they also have this delicious dish where they put it all over their salad, okay? And normally what they'll do is they'll take like ranch and barbecue sauce, mix those monkeys together and douse everything with it. And normally it's, it's a party, okay? It's glorious, okay? It's like, Jesus on a plate almost. No, actually, I can't say that. But anyways, you know what I'm saying, right? It's phenomenal, super, super tasty, right? So what can I do there? Let's break it apart, okay? Super simple. If and when I know for me that I have no problem with proteins and fats like that are in that brisket, okay, cool. What's doing the damage? Okay, maybe it's the sauce. All right, cool. Well, do you mind just holding on that sauce and then maybe give me something else? Give me the ranch by itself. Give me blue cheese. Give me, olive oil, right? Obviously, if I go olive oil, salt, and pepper, I'm going a little high class, if anything, right? And let's say you're at a really nice restaurant. Well, dude, give me like truffle oil or something like that, right? Like that simple, okay? So again, here they are. 1, completely chuck it, right? Obviously, I mean, sometimes it happens, whatever, right? Number 2, obviously eat less, right? And then number 3, just break it apart, right? I had a gentleman on one of these Facebook groups and he's like, man, like I had a pulled pork sandwich and it just threw his numbers crazy. You know what I mean? And granted, hey man, sometimes you're gonna have to go away from the the white bread and the crazy as tasty it is, the barbecue sauce, because they're not only using white sugar, they're using brown sugar and molasses. You know what I mean? Like like it tastes phenomenal, but hey, sometimes we might have to go. What is it? Is it Carolinas? Who uses the mustard style? Well, anyways, one of them do, or go aficionado style and go clean, right? Like none of that stuff, right? We all know that, if you ever go to a really nice restaurant, it's not 10 pounds of crap in a 2-pound bag on the plate more than anything. It's just quality ingredients done really, really well. So anyways, that is exactly it, okay? And here's what I mean by shortcutting your A1C results, okay? So if and when we now understand how to break down our numbers quickly and easily over and over and over, here's where it dawned on me, okay? So this all kind of dawned on me the more and more I was with my prior provider, and she would just kind of go over my test, you know what I mean? And she'd be like, all right, Davis, here's your A1C. And I just stopped one day. I'm like, dude, what is an A1C? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what does it stand for, right? She's like, A1C hemoglobin. Long story short, it's basically like an average of your blood sugar numbers. And I was like, okay, like, you know, at the time I was super, super, you know, ignorant. I didn't know any better, right? So I'm like, okay, blood sugar, I get that, but I really didn't. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I kind of, but I'm like, the word average, like, okay, average, right? Now, coincidentally, I have like, you know, kids or whatever, and, you know, average, like we all learned like 5th grade. I was like, wait, like 5th grade average? Like, you take all the high numbers and the low numbers and all the numbers in between, and then you divide it by the sum, and you get an average, right? And she's like, yeah, you know, like, thank God you went to 5th grade, Davis, right? Like, she didn't say that, but obviously, like, you know, she's like, yes, very good, Davis. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's exactly it, right? So here's what I mean by that, okay? Now that we understand, okay, with the simple 3-step term, okay, that we can now apply it to any meal, meaning, okay, that I can test it at breakfast and have answers before lunch. Like, dude, nobody ever told me this, because at the time when I went from diet to diet to diet to diet to diet, I was taking 30-day, 60-day, 90-day moonshots, okay? I would listen to these different diet gurus. I would read these goofy case studies. I would listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, go on Facebook groups. I was doing all this other stuff. I was focusing outside and not looking at the common sense, which is myself and my actual numbers, right? So now, okay, now I was able to shortcut the process, right? Whenever people were like, hey, I gotta, you know, like I gotta, whenever I saw, and actually more than anything, to be totally honest, I felt really bad, which is why I'm sharing this, you know, because I would be in different groups and people are struggling on all these different diets. And it's just like, dude, if you just looked at your blood sugar, which your doctor's gonna end up looking at anyway, so instead of waiting 90 days and forcing yourself to do all this hard work, if you just did it right now, right? If you just took 30 seconds to do it right now, dude, like you'd be amazed just how much room you actually have versus being in the dark, okay? Now, you know what, actually real quick, let me give you, I didn't say I would, whoops, I was actually gonna make another video on this, but let's just do it right now, okay? Let me show you 3 simple steps on how to make testing your blood sugar as fast and as easy and as painless as possible, okay? So now you can crush it, okay? You can use this on any diet. You can use this on the protocol that your doctor gives you. Look, can you imagine, okay? Can you imagine how it feels? Imagine, take a second to imagine it right now, okay? How it would feel the next time you go into your doctor's, you know, one of these A1C, you know, appointments or whatever, and let's say your doctor gave you the XYZ diet, okay? And you're like, all right, cool, you know? And next thing you know, you walk in and they're like, wow, like your A1C is at like a 5.5. They're like, what did you do? Like, what happened? And you were just like, oh yeah, simple. Like you gave me this list and I just found that these 3 foods just so happen to throw my blood sugar off, where these other 5 did really well. So I just nixed the ones that did me crappy, and just, it was really that easy. Because for a lot of us, it really can be that easy. It's kind of common sense now, right? And that's kind of where I was, and that's exactly what happened to me, okay? So now let me show you just how fast and easy you can make this happen, okay? So to make this as fast and as easy and as painless as possible, let me show you the secrets and the tricks that I use right now, okay? So trick number 1 is I always focus on the sweet spot, okay? What the sweet spot is by the time you play with this little dial here, okay, obviously there's different versions of these, right? But by the time you play with the depth gauge, okay, and how far you push the needle in, okay, what you're gonna find is that there's this magical sweet spot where by the time you tip yourself, you hear the button click, but it's not really all that painful. It's more of just a sound effect, and the next thing you know, you're just getting blood out of it, okay? Super, super simple, okay? The other place there, or the other trick too, is knowing where to test, okay? Now, if you go online, naturally, there's a bunch of different places that'll tell you can go here, you can go here. For me personally, I use this part of my thumb, okay? If this, obviously it'll, you know, if it like calluses up or whatever, I'll just go to the next finger, the next finger, next finger, and I like do a little rotation, right? Anyway, I'll usually start and pick one of these places because that's where they have the least amount of nerve endings. You don't want to go right in the front. that sucks, or right at the tip, that sucks too, okay? However, right here on the side, like if you're looking at your thumbnail and there's that little corner in the front, okay? Just to the side of that guy, it's golden, all right? That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is this, okay? Is I normally change, okay, the tip after I test, okay? After I test, okay? And here's why, okay? So whenever I change it after the test, here's basically what I'm doing, okay? Whenever I change it after the test, now I have a fresh tip, okay? I have a fresh tip no matter what, ready to go. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, like I'm not the perfect person at changing my tip all the time, do I? No, you know what I mean? However, it sounds cool, right? No, I'm being totally honest. Like, yes, this is the easiest way to make it as fast as possible, okay? Why? Because now, look, whether I'm right before I'm having dinner, or whether I'm testing like different foods or working out or doing different things or whatever. For example, if you saw my Chili's video online where I'm not eating diet food, I eat regular, menu food and I keep a completely normal blood sugar. My first test was in the car. It took like 20 seconds, okay? So that's that, okay? So anyways, in fact, you know what? I'm just gonna swig from my own coffee. Let's go ahead and take a blood sugar number right now, okay? Totally unscripted, all right? And here, if you wanna test me, here we go. I don't know, I don't have a stopwatch on me. I'm using my phone right now to do this. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I'm gonna take a strip, slide it in the little thingamajignet, right? Here we go. Make sure I'm at the right depth. Okay. That was actually like a perfect example. Okay, so if you're using this one, I'll tell you what my settings are right now. If you're using the One Touch Delica, okay, I don't know the gauge of the needle. You can actually get thinner needles too. However, I've just been too lazy to do that. So the lazy approach is just to find the sweet spot and it doesn't really hurt. However, if you're using this one, my setting is number 5. Okay, if you want to copy mine. Okay, there you go, number 5. Okay, here we go. So even with me bumping my gums, this is maybe like 20, 30 seconds? What's my number? I don't even know. So, okay, so I'm at 104. Okay, 104. This is before dinner, right? So natural blood, or natural blood sugar numbers, non-diabetic blood sugar number. Normally I walk around, in the 90s. If you saw me yesterday, obviously I drink a lot of coffee. I did have a bunch of coffee today. Basically what I do is I take like 3 to 4 servings of espresso, put that in like a half a cup, and then put cold water on top of that and drink that like soda. Anyways, that's probably why I'm at a 104. Normally I'm like, high 80s, low 90s, but even then, if you took the 104, okay, respectfully, to a blood sugar chart, it's probably gonna be like a 5.1, right? Whatever. Okay, well, anyway, that's it. Okay, look, if you want more tips and strategies just like this, also, if you want to see like my live blood tests, if you want to see my blood panels as I take them, look, all of what I'm sharing here is far larger than me. Okay, my goal here is to share as much as possible in order to help to save as many lives as possible, because not as many people have to suffer and die from type 2 diabetes. I absolutely hope that serves you well. If you'd like to get more of this stuff, go ahead and go to Life Over Type 2, subscribe anywhere, right? Just click on any of the tools. I'll tell you right now, if you like any of the free tools, you'll not only get the easy A1C list of foods, you'll actually get all those tutorials all for free. I just want to do my part in helping as many people as possible. So I absolutely hope that serves you well. Have an awesome rest of your day. And yes, go ahead, if you are on Facebook, give me some love, dude. Say what's up. You know what I mean? I'd really like it. I'd love it. I love you. Thank you. And if you're also on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Either way, feel free to go to Life Over Type 2 and get all that love for free. Have an awesome day. God bless, and I'm out. Are you sure you want to end?